let's make the craziest ephemera the world has ever seen, Poppyfield Avenue edition. Hi, this is Luise Heinzl. I'm pretty excited about this video because today is the day where I will find out if this will work. If you think she doesn't know what she is doing, you are completely right, because this is part of my process of making my Poppyfield Avenue junk journal with my paper collection, which is also called Poppyfield Avenue and which you can find in my shop. We've already put together the signatures. We've also done some pretty crazy stuff here while sitting in a packaging box to protect our table and our supplies from getting some ink splatters, and I'm pretty happy with what we already have here. If you're new to my channel and if you think, oh my goodness, this is the first video I see and I don't know what she's doing and I don't know what happened before and what is this and what can I expect from this, and if you want to know how my journal, the bound journal, will look, and if you have missed the other stuff, then please check out the description box. There's a playlist with all of the videos I have already published, and in that playlist you can also find a video which is called Poppyfield Avenue Paper Premiere, and in that paper premiere, which was a premiere video on YouTube, I have already shown you my bound journal so that you can get an idea how this new paper collection can look in a like finished and bound condition. Well, that being said, finished is probably not the 100% correct word for what you have seen in the paper premiere, because there I have shown you the journal in a condition which is bound, yes, but not with everything in it, so that you can get a rough idea about this. But we will also have videos later where I will work in the journal then, and then it will again change a little bit, and you know, then in the end it will look a little bit different. And now I'm going to make a little time travel with these videos where I show you parts of my process, how I made this journal. And now we are at this point, so that means you have already seen the journal. You know way more than I do because I haven't seen the journal yet. Yeah, while I'm recording this, it's like for you a little time travel because you have already seen it and now you see this, and for me it's like I have no idea what's going to happen here. And these are really process videos. If you expect a tutorial, you are in the wrong place because I want to take you with me on this journey of making this journal and show you parts of my process. I've picked some portions of my process where I thought that could be interesting for you, and there you might want to know how I came to this stage and how I did the things. It's not a whole process thing because that would not be possible to film. But to be honest, when I look back until now, I have filmed everything I did. Yeah, so perhaps that is an information you want to have as well. So what are we going to do next? The first thing is, I can't tell you at this point how far we will come in this video because I want to do this really step by step now. So that means I will see after, you know, a specific amount of time how far we have come, and then I will decide to take that as one video so that you can then do that at home as well if you want and follow those steps in this from this video. And then excuse me, in the next video we will go on with the next steps. So that means the thing with making the ephemera will take me more than one video. I can't do that in this one video. That doesn't mean that you can't do that in one day or so. It only means that I want to really explain you my steps and my thoughts behind that, and that takes way more time than if you would do that at home without talking and without the need of explaining something. Yeah. So I also want to take this time for myself, and I don't want to stress myself. So, and at the same time, I don't want my videos to be too long. So let's see how far we can come and what we can do here. So what is this? I have here the Poppyfield Avenue ephemera pack. These are all of the things like banners, tuck spots, pockets, and so on. So these are the pieces you can get with this digital ephemera pack. The links to the digitals are all down below in the description box. There's the junk journal pages, this ephemera pack, and the junk journal kit available, which is nothing else than the ephemera pack plus the pages. Yeah, so if you want to have everything of this paper collection, then just take the kit, and then you have everything I have here on my desk as well. The kit is just a bundle of the pages and the ephemera pack. So that's the tuck spots and pockets and banners. I also have my tags here. There are different sizes of tags available in the ephemera pack. I will not show you everything, but just a few of these pieces. You can see these are very different in style and color. I've already talked about that in my paper premiere. I say that while I haven't even recorded the video, but that is something I definitely will have said in the paper premiere, because I wanted to have something which is really like a collection of many different things. Because what is a junk journal? When we make a junk journal from collected things, then they are not all the same size, obviously. Sorry, not all the same style, obviously, not size. So when we go, for example, to a flea market and we find a vintage tag with a poppy and we think, oh, that fits into our journal, then we would probably buy that. Perhaps the next day we find something from a magazine where some envelopes are and we think, oh, that fits well to this letter theme of the Poppyfield Avenue theme. We take that, yeah? And with that we find very different things, like for example from old books or so, or perhaps you have a vintage postcard which you have from somewhere, or some fabric which fits the theme. And I wanted to have this paper collection exactly like that, so that it's really a collection of many different styles, also many different colors. And it also has this urban sketch graffiti kind of style mixed with vintage elements. Tags and cards. And here I have some of the envelopes. So this is, you know, you can't open this. This is just like a card, but you can turn this into a pocket or turn this even into an envelope. Here are also some really, yeah, like snippets, like clippings in the ephemera pack. Really, really different stuff. And I can't wait to throw these things in the journal now, because what I want to do is, with all of these things, I want to take my signatures and I want to do the following thing. In the last video we have made these things here over these pages which have the different sizes. With that we got these marks here where we have, you know, this negative impression of this page on this page. And we also talked in the last video about this problem here, that some of the mediums went under the pages so that this is not very clearly visible as an edge. And that was why we put the black and the white here on this page. On the other pages we did it differently. Over here to create these shapes. And these shapes are what I want to use now as a guide for where to put my ephemera. There was this thing in my head where I thought, what if we see a line and then determine what's that, where these things shall go. This is nearly approximately the same height like this little edge here that would fit perfectly here, but it's a little bit too short. This is not a good example. Perhaps you are confused. Let me switch to another page where this is more obvious for this first thing. So look here, for example, we have this edge here. So I want to find now something which can go in exactly this corner so that it makes sense. because that way it's like a puzzle somehow. And I can use this shape or these shapes of the ephemera pieces for finding spots. I thought that is perhaps a cool idea because that way it is perhaps also easier to find the spots for the ephemera pieces. This is masking tape, I often sit in front of a blank page and I think, where the heck shall I now put these pieces? And sometimes I have absolutely no idea how I shall do that. And in other situations, I think, okay, this tuck spot could go to this page, but on another page in the journal, there would be also a good spot. And then I spend my time searching for a good spot. And I end up with taking this, putting that back into my drawer and not using it. And that is what I want to avoid with this. I want to try, if it's possible, to use these shapes for finding the spots. Then I take that, tape that down with some masking tape. Yes, this is masking tape. Yes, this is sticky. Yes, I have put that over here. And the tuck spot with that doesn't have a function anymore because you couldn't put anything in there anymore, but that has a reason. I want to put this down so that it's really on the page, that this paper touches this. And yes, this is sticky and we can't use this anymore in this stage, okay? Because, I do that in this way because later I want to remove these things again. So that means it really doesn't matter for me at this point if the colors I have here fit to this or if I like the design of the piece itself on this page. Doesn't matter. This masking tape will stay on the ephemera pieces later. I would want to use that as a part of the design. That's why I tear it into irregular pieces, because I don't want to have this straight piece of masking tape on here later. But the masking tape will later on stay on the page and on the piece. On the, in this case, the tuck spot. I feel so weird. You must think, what the heck is she doing? To be honest, then we are already two people who are thinking that right now. I also try to stick this on pretty irregularly so that it doesn't look like, not in all the four corners or so, because then I think that looks pretty weird. Here, this could work. This edge and this edge, look, that's what I meant with I don't look at the image or so, because I would probably not put something like this in this direction into the journal, because then the bird is in the wrong direction. I would prefer this direction. But for this shape, I ignore what's on here for now, and I see that this fits perfectly here, because this is the same length like this, and that is now my decision helper, can I say that, to glue it here, so that I don't feel the need of thinking about this for ages, but that I just can go for it and stick it down somewhere. Not so sure if I want to add something there, so let's just go to the next signature. And of course, if you see something which you really like for example, I like this page really a lot because of this thing here. So obviously you can then also decide to skip a page or so where you think I don't want to put anything there, just skip it and, you know, go to another page. Here I see this. Do we have something which is in that size? This is too long. This is not completely the whole length, but I think here we have this corner, and well, if it's not 100% the length, why don't we just ignore that and try this out to put it here anyway, because the goal is to not overthink this and just do it. So let's try that. So I will now go on with this method and just take my pieces here and find these spots with the help of the things which are already on the pages.
You tear out a page, then read a line or two. Your secret letters, hidden chapters I was longing for. You folded it and smiled. I love those words and you. And today, there's nothing I miss more. Send me letters from Poppyfield Avenue. Time-worn secrets, telling tales we knew were true. Wrapped in coffee and cinnamon air, the ceremonies we used to share. Every line a whisper, a memory to renew. Send them to me, your letters from Poppy.
And what I also just thought is, what if we, for example, have a rectangle here like this? Can you see that? Here's this line, here's this line, and here's this line. But this card, for example, is too small. A second ago, I said I will just glue it down, and you know, I did glue it down. Ignored it, that it is too short. But while I was listening to the Poppyfield Avenue soundtrack, which you've also just heard, which was, by the way, written by myself and performed by no one else than my dear friend Daniel Evans, and which you will get automatically for free with your download of these papers. While I was listening to that, I thought, why don't we see the card here now in this edge, so lined up with this edge we had there? And why don't we take something else? Yeah, don't look at the design, this is probably weird. And why don't we put this over here, lined up with this edge? This probably doesn't make any sense now, but please trust the process. And if you can't trust the process, then please trust me, okay? We are going to stick this down here. I have a hard time to trust myself, but we will see. So, shall we make another example with sticking something over another piece? Perhaps we can find even more spots where that is possible. And please make sure that if you have these corners here and they are coming up, please make sure that you tape them down. Otherwise, I think the next step could cause some problems. And, oh, now my tape is empty. So here we go. And if you want to know more about Daniel Evans, who has sang the song and did his magic with my lyrics, then please check out his link tree with all of his social media links. It's in the description box. Oh, this is very rough. Is that good? Well, no, it's on here. This is very rough compared to the other one. So here you can see I have also put this tag over the card. I think that is not the baddest idea. And what to do with these pages where, you know, we only have such a little bit of something. Can we there? Yeah, well, why not? Let's just try to put something right to the center here. Why not? These pages, if you have made this exactly like I did it here with the different sizes of the pages, then you might notice that you have some pages where nearly nothing happened, and those are the ones which are more in the center of the signature, because they are obviously, they have been covered up by the smaller pages, and here only on the frame there could be something. And you might also have some pages where nothing went through from the other page. I want to do something different with these pages, so I will not put ephemera on all of these pages. Yeah, it wouldn't be a problem if you have some pieces here and there, but please make sure if you want to craft along that you also have some of these empty pages left where we later on will do something different. Yeah, so that's why I don't put anything to these. And even if you ignore what I say here, that can be perhaps also really helpful in some situations if you just ignore me. But if you ignore what I'm doing here and what I say and you do it differently, the pages are not bound into the journal yet, so there's absolutely no problem, because even if you realize later that you don't have enough pages for the next videos and what I show in the next videos, and if you want to try that out as well, then you can still add more pages to your journal, or you could try the other ideas on separate pages and just put them into your next journal if you really don't have enough space for doing these things. But I think that will not happen because we have a ton of space here. What if we put this over here like so and leave a little thing which is overlapping? Here on these smaller pages, when I think here's nothing yet, yeah, no color, no nothing, I think I will also just put something somewhere so that we have a little bit of interest there, and yeah, like a starting point for the next step. So if you, this is perfect, if you want to craft along and if you haven't given up yet, then you could prepare this as your homework, because I will now finish this video and do the next step in the next video. I want that everyone can follow along here and that you don't get overwhelmed with the different steps. So that's why I try to make this not only really detailed, but also try to make the videos pretty like as short as it's possible for me, so that you can really follow along with the single steps. I mean, this is not finished yet, yeah, but as I said in the beginning, I didn't know how long this would take me, and I think it's a good idea when we now just stop here. I mean, I will finish this off camera, yeah, but I don't want to wreck your nerves with sticking these things down. I think you understood, hopefully, what you can do with your own journal now to be in the same stage like I am with this project. And then in the next video we are going to do the next steps of really making this ephemera, because until now we've just sticked it down. This was like little preparation or so, but important, because without this step we can't do the next step. And I will definitely go with this idea to also put more of these over each other, like this small tag here, for example, over this card, because I think that will be really cool in the end. So that means we will stop this here now, and I'm really hoping that you are not freaking out because you at this point don't know what's going to happen next, but perhaps you liked what you have seen in the paper premiere. If you want to have something like you've seen in the paper premiere, then just follow along and trust this process. Stick your ephemera pieces down, and then we will see the next time. The next video will come very soon, and then we can go on with this. I can't wait. I really can't wait. So I will finish this, and I wish you a very great and creative day. Bye.